Hello and welcome to the IKEA Magna fitted shield cover tutorial. Second to constructing their first pair of swords or so, the shield is the second piece of equipment a new player will want to build. After you've put the foam and handle together comes the cover. While there are many valid ways to cover your shield, you'll find that an old t-shirt duct taped over your shield isn't quite good enough for obvious reasons. So what I've prepared for this video is a common way to cover a shield. Preparation. First, we'll go over the list of materials you'll need to build your shield cover. Your first shield cover doesn't need to be made out of a high quality material, but I recommend at least a heavy broadcloth because your shield will be getting hit a lot and you don't want it falling apart. You're also going to need thread to sew it together. Try to get a matching color if you can. You're also going to need to know how to use a sewing machine or hand sew. This tutorial does not cover how to sew, but if you have the basics, you should be able to get by. As for your measuring and cutting devices, I'm using an L-shaped ruler, pair of scissors, and for tracing, I use a non-wax colored pencil that has a 1/2 inch of foam taped to the side of it. This is so that it's easier to measure out the seam length. Finally, you're going to need some stringing material. I use this fishing line, but any kind of string that's long enough will work. Measuring. The simplest way to measure out the face of your shield cover is to trace it while adding a 1/2 inch for seam allowance. Fun tip, if your material isn't enough to cover the shield, sewing 2 or more pieces together can give you more room and add some flavor. For the edge, you want to measure out the thickness of the shield and then add about 3 to 5 inches. This amount can be more depending on the thickness of the shield and how secure the cover needs to be to the shield. The general rule is that the thicker the shield is, the more onto the back of the shield the edge material will need to go. After you've done all your tracing, go ahead and cut the material. Sewing. Starting with your edge material, fold the last inch to 1.5 inches along the inside of the outermost edge and sew it down. Make sure you leave the holes at the edges unsewn so that you can feed the string through later. If you're having trouble, sewing pins would help here. I don't do that because it was how I was taught when I learned how to sew. Depending on how long the edge of the shield is, you may need to sew multiple edge lengths together before sewing the fold down. Next, sew the edge to the shield cover face. At this point, it's important to make sure you're sewing on what will end up the inside of the shield cover. Again, sewing pins might help you here. Threading the string. Attach the string to something hard and easy to manipulate under the fabric and feed it through the hole. In this example, I'm using a recycled piece from a pen. Remember not to cut the string until you've finished feeding it through. After you've finished feeding it through, attach it to the shield and tie it down. Now you should be able to cut off the string without worrying about the string sliding into the shield material. At this point, you can tie it down like I did, or you can use a drawstring clip. I don't like drawstring clips personally, because I don't trust them to stay on. And there you have it, the fitted shield cover. If your shield is small enough and perfectly round, you can skip the step of measuring, cutting, and sewing the edge material and just make a really big drawstring bag. It's basically the same. This isn't the only way to cover a shield, and I will link other relevant tutorials in the description. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll promise to try and read them. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please rate and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you nerds later.